Hello everyone, Nancy Burt-Preece here. I'm excited to share with you this card. I think it's just really pretty. And it kind of reminds me of my vacation that I just came back from in Maine. And we saw lots of beautiful sunsets and water, and it was just beautiful, really beautiful in Acadia. So let me show you how to make this card. We're using this beautiful sunset paper. But before I share with you how to make the card, I want to show that these two cards, and there'll be a couple different papers, are what I am having for my kit to go this month. So you'll receive enough to make 2 of these cards, probably different DSP, and 2 of these cards. So if you are interested, please let me know right away. I had the date as the 15th, but I was gone in June. So I'm making the date for the kit to go, if you want one, is June 26th. It's this Friday, 2026. So message me. The cost is $20. You get everything you need. You create whatever saying you want on this one, and I will give you some ephemera for the other one. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. Now, let me show you how to make this beautiful card, and we're going to make it with a different DSP. This is the Sunset Coast Designer Series paper, which is gorgeous. Love it. So I'll show you how we're going to do that, and I left it inside because I'm probably going to make this a graduation card. I'm not sure. Could be a birthday. So I kind of left the inside open for now. This is Hydrangea Hue with the Designer Series paper. The one we're going to make is with crushed curry. Basically, I always look at the back of the paper pack to see the colors in it, and that's how I choose them. And I also lay them up against the paper and see if I like it, you know, that sort of thing. So it's kind of nice doing this technique, which I cased from Brian King. He did it a couple years ago. I like this technique, and this makes it a little bit easier because you keep that line, and you're going to see we're going to keep it on both of the papers, so it makes it easier to line up. So I wanted to show you, this is an ephemera pack. It is now something special. And this is now sold out, but on Friday, when I always do my questions for the month of June, I will be asking some questions. And this will be the prize for this Friday, is a package of this ephemera. And let me show you, this is a piece of ephemera, and this is one of the ephemera. And you just get a ton of things you can use. Now, let's say you use something like this Celebrate. I would use the technique I've shown you before with the silicone mat, put a little bit of glue, and use either a sponge or a sponge dauber, and just put that glue on the back of it and then attach it. It works out really well. If you try to do glue on the back of each little piece, that's kind of hard. So that's how I would use that Celebrate, as you can see. Now, let's try. The first thing, I did not cut any of the paper. If you get a kit, you will, of course, have it cut. But for this demonstration, I wanted to show you how I go about doing this. And there are going to be scraps, but I will show you some cards later that will use those scraps. So I'm going to start, I have my birds cut out, so I'm going to start with this piece of Designer Series paper. It is 6 by 6. I mean, you could do either side. I love this side. And it has like a shimmer at the bottom. So it's really pretty. The first thing I'm going to do is make it a 4-inch this way. So how am I going to do that? I know I want some of this in there. And I kind of go to 4. I might go up. What I kind of do is I start at 5, and I will use my dark blade to cut. And I know that I'm going to use this piece for my inside designer series paper strip that just adds a little bit. Now I'm going to come back and cut this off. Now, do I want, is it going to give me any of that purple? I might go back and give a little bit 1/4 inch. And yes, this does take a few minutes. And if you preferred, you could use that for your inside strip or save it for another card. So now I'm going to come back, and this is almost at 4 inches. And I'm doing it the way I like to. You don't have to. Now this strip, you could save it and use it in a card. I may end up getting rid of that one, but you could. So what you want is a 4-inch wide, a 4-inch depth, and a 5-inch wide card. So I want that to be in the middle. It's 6 inches, so I'm going to kind of take 1 inch. This one is pretty easy because I'm not working with the sun. Once again, I'll put that in my scrap pile. And, oops, there we go. I took enough off where I have a 5-inch by 4-inch piece. And mine is a little bit off. I kind of should have cut half inch. But if you really wanted this to be exactly in the middle, I should have cut 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. I'm really okay with this, but some people might not. And I'm totally good with that. I'm showing you how to cut it. Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take off a 3/4 strip on this side. Keep that in order. So I'm going to move these other extra strips way out of the way so I don't get them confused. So I'm going to keep this one here. And I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to cut another 3/4 inch strip. And that one goes on the other side. I keep flipping my paper back so I know where it is. I'm going to move this to the side for a minute because I'm going to cut a 1/2 inch off the top and the bottom. 1/2 inch. This little tiny thing I am going to throw out. You could try to keep it. 1/2 inch on this side. Okay, I'm putting that back where it goes on the left-hand side. 1/2 inch. And 1/2 inch. Okay, now I'm going to come back, and this time I'm going to cut 1 inch strips off of each side. So 1 inch, that's going to go here, turn it over, and I'm going to do 1 inch. Is this kind of a fussy card? Yeah, it is, but it's not hard. It's basically just cutting. Okay, and I'm going to set this piece aside. I am not cutting that one. I'm going to come back to this one. And I'm only going to cut off a 1/4 inch. Make sure that's just a 1/4 inch. And a 1/4 inch. Now, could you do it easier? Probably. But I want to keep the pattern and I want to keep everything in order. So if you had no pattern to your paper, you could just cut it and make it easy, but this is just so spectacular with pattern paper. Okay, I'm going to put that back in place, and then I'm going to put that there. And I am done cutting. So now what I'm going to do is this is crushed curry. It's a 5.5 by 8.5 piece, scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to kind of lay them out. I decided I really like this paper on crushed curry. And I'll show you, I lay it out first, get a feel for it. And this is one I would say I would use glue because you have wiggle room. Okay, so you get a feel for where they should be. And it's not a perfect feel, and I'm on camera, so we'll do what we can. Move this over just a smidge. And our goal is to keep that line kind of in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on one end. That's how I always do it. There's probably a better way, but that's the way I like to do it. And I'm going to make that in the middle because this is kind of my first piece. That's going to set everything up. Now I'm going to take these off, keeping them in order. And I'm going to come to this one. And I am adding some glue. Now, this is kind of a doofy thing to do, but I'm going kind of straight across. And I'm going to try to do about the same. Could I measure it? Yes. You could absolutely measure it. And if you want it perfect, you would have to measure it. You all know I'm an eyeball from way back. Oh, hi, Elaine. I'm seeing some people on. That's exciting. So next, I'm going to take this one. And I'm going to add some adhesive. And I'm going to line those little white line up. It's the, I think this one is a sunrise. So that little line. I always go outside in. And I'll tell you why. Because if you start on one end and you didn't think it through, or you didn't have your measurements exact, or something isn't quite right, it's just so much easier to go outside in. Now, could you pop these up? Yep, you really could. I chose not to because I'm going to just pop up the sentiment, but you could. Is that not pretty or what? And it's so easy. I mean, really, obviously I cut it wrong the first time, but you know, it's not a hard card. I'm going to come back with this. I said that we were done, but we really weren't. Which one should I put on the inside? This one seems more exciting. So I'm going to come back. And that's a 1 inch, and I'm going to let it be 1 inch. My inside is going to be 5 1/4. So that kind of adds some fun for your inside of your card. And I really am left with tiny, tiny scraps and these, which I will have to use. I'll have some more scraps of these. I'll have to use on another card and show you how we can really use all sorts of pieces and parts on our cards. So the last thing I'm going to do is I cut out 3 birds that come in this set, comes with the Sunset Coast. I made those already stickers, so you just have to peel it off, which sounds like a great thing on camera, not always, but we'll see. Oh, I might have a good day. And there we go. I'm not always good at answering comments during, but I will definitely come back after and share or see what you have questions of. I made these birds in Gorgeous Grape. So I thought it really went with the whole paper. Now, are birds really in Gorgeous Grape? Well, I don't know. Are there purple birds? Well, probably not, but you never know. If there's purple birds, you're going to have to let me know. Oh, come on. And there we go. You can put them anywhere you want. There is no wrong or right, so I'm going to do it a little different this time. And then this teeny tiny, I don't know why I like groups. Well, I do know why I like groups of 3. Groups of 3, your eye goes to groups of 3. We like odd numbers. It's a scientific fact, believe it or not. And so 3s just look complete. 1 isn't bad. Sometimes you can get away with 2s also. So I'll put this one like there. Okay. Then this is some of that ephemera, which is really, I mean, it says this is a confetti, sparklers, and streamers kind of celebration. So that would be great for birthday or for graduation. It can be anything you really want it. I'm using the smaller dimensionals. They work out well. I'm going to pop that up like right there. Could I use some little gems on there? I could, but I think I'm going to keep it pretty simple. However, if you get a kit from me, I'll probably include some sequins in there for you, just in case you decide you really need them. I'm going to add a little bit there so it sticks. This is that DSP. So that's what I like about this one is you really are using most of the 6x6 DSP because you don't want to waste a lot of it. You know, people don't want to cut the DSP, and it is beautiful. I mean, this is some of my favorite DSP. However, you know, you got to use it. You can't just, well, you could just keep collecting it, which I do sometimes, but it's fun to have this. And I'll show you the sunset sequins that go with this set. They're really quite pretty. And now I gotta find. Well, maybe I'll show you. Oh, here they are. Aren't they pretty? They just add a little sparkle. So you could put those on here anywhere you wanted and just add a little bit of an extra sparkle. So I hope you like this designer series paper card, and I hope that you try it. And don't forget, adhesive sheets. There's lots of good techniques used here. The adhesive sheets, cutting your DSP, and don't forget the wonderful ephemera. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.